I did not think it was possible to get nervous in front of a bunch of cars, but the infamous butterflies are back. Good afternoon, Ms. Schmitz, Dr. Odie, teachers and staff, parents, benefactors, online viewers, and the class of 2020. First off, on behalf of the graduating class, I want to say a huge thank you to every teacher for all your hard work, passion for learning, and tireless devotion to every student. You are all undoubtedly some of the most inspiring people we have ever known, shaping the way we think and learn. To our 3 retiring teachers, thank you for all your years of service and dedication to students. Ms. Salmon, for all the laughs and the things we learned from you in any conversation, no matter what it was about. Ms. Radke, for laying down the foundations for our observational skills and love for literature. And Ms. Arndt, for being our all-in-one problem solver during school hours, and for all the awkward moments not knowing if you were joking or serious. To all the janitorial and office staff, for being the quiet workers that make our school function and made this ceremony possible. And lastly, I want to thank all the parents and/or guardians for, quite literally, everything. To my mom specifically, because I'm up here today, thank you so much for guiding me, feeding me, sacrificing so much to let me attend Trinity, yelling at me, maybe a little bit too much at times, worrying for me, but most of all, loving me. Her name is Blue Nissan. Ah yes, as much as we may not like to admit it, where would we be without our moms and dads? Speaking of moms, today I want to share my family story that begins with her. Sorry, Dad. Maybe my college valedictorian speech? My mom was born into a military family in rural China. From childhood, life was hard. She began cooking and cleaning for the whole family at age 8. She cleaned the pig's pen, cleaned the chicken coop, washed clothes, which was not just throwing it into a machine at the time. Escape seemed impossible. But over 30 years, against all odds and against all opinions of everyone around her, she managed to work herself out of the rural, mountainous China into Beijing's top university. And from Beijing's top university to Hawaii, the outskirts of America. And from the outskirts of America to the Midwest of America. I do wish she had gone a little further. Florida winters would have been great. Of course, my mom's childhood community on the military base thought it was ridiculous for her to apply to Renmin University, the Princeton of China at the time. But following her own voice and dreams, she studied insanely hard to gain admission to Renmin. After graduating from Renmin, her college community thought she was absolutely crazy to dream of studying in America and obtain a student's visa, especially given the current political events surrounding the Tiananmen Square massacre. But once again, she listened to her inner voice, studied insanely hard for the TOEFL, and made it out. Legend has it that she used to study 5 straight hours without even getting up to use the bathroom. By the time I was born, my mom and dad had been financially stable for a few years. Because they finally had enough money to fund some activities their kids wanted to do, they kept pushing me to work hard at whatever I did and take advantage of the boundless opportunities of America. I took their encouragement so much to heart that I drew some unwanted attention practicing so much piano at such a young age, and going to swim practice every day at age 10. I remember being in elementary school and my classmates making fun of me because all I knew was classical music. I remember piano friends being confused at why I swam, and swimmer friends being confused at why I did piano. I remember in middle school when I was asked what my favorite type of music was by several high schoolers. Not knowing I should answer with Taylor Swift to save face, I innocently and honestly answered Mozart, which gave them quite a guffaw. Being the sassy little girl I was, I shrugged it off. But I can't say these instances didn't bother me at all. I didn't like not fitting in anywhere. When I told my mom about these things, her answer was always the same. Don't mind what other people are doing. Just focus on developing your strengths and your path. This helped me carry on, but in my young heart, I still didn't get it. Not only did I want to fit in, but one little question bothered me the most. Why? Why was I trying so hard to pave my own way? Why did my parents push me to do so? Why was being an individual important? By the time my family and I discovered Trinity, I was ready to enter into this new environment with a full suit of armor, expecting to face the same comments about being weird and feeling out of place. But as time went on, while I was still different from other people, I realized that everyone here seemed different from each other. And it was seen as a gift. Each one of us was seen as a unique gem that formed a radiant community. Here, variety of interests, backgrounds, and ideas were celebrated. Together, we marveled at each other's unique talents like Abby's wound makeup. We fascinated each other with how each person had a different solution to one integral with Dr. Bean and Mr. Olson. We debated, yet appreciated, I hope, our contradictory opinions in world issues with Mr. Peasley and Mrs. Spinardi. It was only in my 4th year at Trinity that I realized I had already found the answer to my question. This is why we strive to be individuals. Individuality doesn't just affect us and make us better, but it can better the community as well. I had found the place where individuality was not seen as odd, but as beautiful, special, and a gift to the community. And the more I think about it, the more I realize that my parents' individuality also benefited the community around them wherever they were living, in small ways or big. Although helping others was not at the forefront of my mom's mind when she wanted to escape China, she has since encouraged countless Chinese students to give it a try and encouraged many international students to persevere. My mom and dad saved lives by sharing the struggles and depressions they experienced. My point is that while it is hard for us to be individualistic, our individuality is perhaps one of the greatest gifts that we can give to the communities around us, sometimes without even being aware. So for us, the class of 2020, as we step out into this world and this country, which has arguably never been this polarized since the 1960s, I hope we all never forget to keep looking for who God wants us to be and the importance of that identity in ourselves and in others. Right now, it is definitely difficult to have different beliefs, even more so to encourage others to hold different beliefs. And when the death and destruction of a stealthy virus and violent protests encompass us like it is now, it becomes even more complicated. But if we don't foster variety and individualism, people will become lost in a crowd and lost beings drifting in a mind-numbing swamp. And remember, outstanding people, or the things they have achieved, don't stand out because they followed the majority. They were all their own individuals and followed their own voices. We still read Plato today because of his revolutionary ideas. We know who Beethoven and Picasso are because of their, at the time, unconventional approaches to art. While most of us cannot whip out a remarkable story like my parents yet, we can start to plant, water, and grow our seedlings of individuality. And I believe it starts as a day-to-day attitude, a mindset, to not worry about what other people's paths or opinions are. So I know in 1 or 2 years you'll probably forget what I say today, or even by the time you drive out of this parking lot. I know I will. But here's my advice anyways. Be intentional about your individuality so that you can inspire the community around you to also be dynamic. Be the inspiration to others to be different, just like my mom has been to me, and your parents, or whoever has impacted you the most, has been to you. As Jesus puts it in Matthew 13, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed. It is the smallest of all seeds, but it becomes the largest of garden plants. It grows into a tree, and birds come and make nests in its branches. In the same way, let's plant and grow our individuality so that our stories can be a nest of life for others. Thank you, and see you at the 5-year reunion!